Okay, so welcome to the Here workshop, and today we're hoping to go through basically explain what the Here is, its purpose and key benefits, and have a look what's eligible and how you actually apply for hearable activities, because we have an approval panel within the university that signs off on these types of things, and it's also the sort of discussion and going forward with Here, how we're going to take that forward for future planning, and how it can be developed within the institution, because we're in very early stages at the moment on that. Probably should introduce ourselves first of all. Over to you guys, you two introduce yourselves first of all.
I'm Elizabeth Cornish. I'm from the Career Development Service and I manage the Leicester Award.
I'm Mike Rubin, I'm President of the Student Union.
And I'm Sian from the Quality Assurance Office, and we kind of form the Here approval panel as well, and our other guys. Okay, so what is the Here? Has any of you heard of the Here before? Any of you two heard of the Here before? Yeah, so you've come across it, Higher Education Achievement Report. It's quite similar to the old diploma supplement. And basically its purpose is to be shared securely, so you can give out your details, and employers can log in and have a look at that, other universities can have a look at that, friends and family can have a look at it as well and verify certain aspects of your Here. It captures academic and non-academic achievements. I'll go through and show you what it actually looks like, so we'll go through each section in a second. It reviews progress and plans future activities. We don't actually do that at Leicester at the moment. It's something that we're looking forward to doing and something that we hope to do in the future. It recognises and supports engagement beyond curriculum opportunities. Again, we don't really do that so much at the moment at Leicester. We do recognise the achievements, but it's taking it that one step further, and we're trying to build up a bank of hearable activities at the moment, so we're still in early stages with that and developing that. And it acts as an aid memoir for future jobs, future applications and things like that, because there's sections in it that I'll show you now that are really useful. If I just go to that. Have you got the Here on your pen drive?
I don't.
Oh, okay.
That's okay. Shall I hand these out?
Yeah, I've got one on my pen drive. Okay, so this is what the Here looks like. As you can see, we've got at the very top, it's the crest from the University of Leicester. We use that on our degree certificates, so it gives it that sort of added element of authenticity, and we only ever use that, thank you, on degree certificate. So it will always have the university logo at the top. Then we'll have information on the holder, so it's their name and date of birth and their various identification numbers. And then it'll detail the award that they've got, the language that it's been taught in. Let me just go. Okay, then the next level we've got, again, it goes into a bit more sort of detail about the framework of higher education qualifications, how long they've taken to study. And again, section 4 is a bit more information about what they've studied. It goes down into the programme details, learning outcomes, that sort of thing, and you've got a list there of all the modules they've taken and the actual grades that they've achieved in that. So this is very basic sort of diploma supplement stuff. And again, it's got the grading schemes there, and it details in section 5 about the Bologna process. Section 6, this is the section we're really interested in for the Here. This is where the details from the Here would appear. So here you can see we've got, this is just a practice one, so we've got Leicester Award for Employability. This is taken from our Here approval process, so there's a section there with the free text where you put that in and that would appear in this section. And the student group officers, something that I found really really key to this area is the skills that they've developed within this role. That would be really key to helping students to use this as an aid memoir and basically as a CV, if you like, so that when roles come up that need leadership and supervision, they can say, yes, I've got that, and I can link it back to there. So it's that sort of tapping into transferable skills there. And then we've got it signed off by the registrar, and then this is just some general bump at the end of there on higher education systems, and we've got the FHEQ at the end. So it's an official looking document. It's certainly useful for students, particularly, like I said, pulling through those key areas, the key skills that they've come away with. But there's only specific areas that we can actually class as hearable activities, and Elizabeth will go through that in a tick. If I just go back to the presentation. Okay, how do students access this? Well, there's an online access to this, and it's Grad Intel. So what they do is they've got their login details, which we normally give them towards the end when they're coming up to graduation, so that they can have a look at what's stored in there. It's free of charge to the students. The university has to pay a fee each year to Grad Intel, but the students have access to that completely freely. And like I said before, it can be shared around universities, future employers, that sort of thing. I think you guys have actually logged on to your...
Yeah, so basically you get an email with a link to a Grad Intel site and sort of login details. And then you can just go onto it and you can view it online. And you can download it as a PDF as well, which is quite handy, rather than having to sort of worry about finding a link or remembering your login details. So when I graduated last year, I sort of logged on and downloaded a PDF, and I can sort of send it to any employers or upload it somewhere if I need to. So it does work quite well. So it's a little bit clunky, but it's generally fairly easy to use.
And it captures all the data from when they're a student. So basically, once you've downloaded it as a PDF, it's not going to update anyway, so you can have that as a PDF at the end of it. And I think that's over to you.
Yeah, so just to talk about some of the benefits of a HEAR. So sort of four main benefits we think that a HEAR adds to students. So the first, as we've already discussed, this idea of it being a sort of aid memoir. So when you're a student, you tend to do lots of different things, and it's sometimes hard to keep track of all the different committees and all the different sort of extracurricular activities you've done. So this is an official way which just sort of updates it all for you and provides that sort of formal recognition of it's not just a student saying on an application that they were club captain of a hockey team. You've actually got this official document with University Crest in it saying so as well. So it gives it that bit more sort of formal recognition, which is important. So adds a bit of credibility to it. The other thing which I think still needs a bit more development, but the idea that actually when you're applying for jobs at university, the employer shouldn't just look at your degree classification, they should look at a sort of wider picture. And here is a sort of way of trying to sort of formalise that a bit more and say, when you apply for a grad scheme, yeah, it's great if you've got a 2-1, but they should also look at your HEAR and sort of look at the two hand in hand. It shouldn't just be about what grade you got at the university level. So here's an opportunity to sort of try and formalise that system and give it a bit more credibility. And the last thing is around PDP, so sort of students being able to use it to develop whilst they're studying, which we still need to do a bit more work on at the moment because you only really get the HEAR at the end, so it's kind of hard to use it as a development tool. But the idea of it is that's eventually what it should be doing.
Okay, so I'm going to talk to you about section 6.1, which is the area where extracurricular and co-curricular activities can get recognised if they're not already recognised somewhere else on the HEAR. So currently we have over 50 extracurricular and co-curricular activities recognised, and these range from things like leadership positions within the Students' Union, volunteering, and some kind of employability courses. There's about 2,500 students that have already had activities recorded on their HEAR this year, and our real goal is to sort of increase that number because we know there's a lot more activity going on around the university that we can get recognised. So there's a formal approval process for getting an activity recognised on the HEAR. New activities can apply by an application, and then that goes to an approval panel, which is made up of ourselves. And we will review that application and let you know whether it meets the requirements for the HEAR. Once we accept your application, that then gets sent to the Student Experience Enhancement Group and they verify that. and then it is formally a here activity. So what I'm going to show you is the inclusion criteria for the here. On the board I've got kind of the main points of what the activity needs to include, but I've just passed these out, and this is the full inclusion criteria. So essentially, it has to be an achievement, it has to be verifiable by a member of staff, so it can't, although a student can put forward an activity to be approved, it needs to have a staff member who verifies that activity, and it cannot be recognised anywhere else than the here, so it can't be part of the academic curriculum, and it can't be somewhere else as an achievement. With the exception of courses, it should also involve either sustained and regular commitment over the period of one semester, or at least 10 hours of interaction. If it kind of doesn't have those things, we would obviously say it should have those things, but it should also require students to do some sort of activity at the end of it, or reflective assignment, to kind of test their learning, really. So that's kind of what the kind of inclusion criteria at a glance. On this kind of piece of paper, there's some obviously other things. So it can't be formal employment, with exceptions to things like ambassadorial roles. So, for instance, the student ambassadors, that is a here recognised activity because of the type of work it is.
Do you want to go through the...
Yeah. So what we're going to do now is kind of show you some application forms that have come to the approval panel, and get you kind of as a group to review them, and pull out kind of whether you think that it was accepted straight away, whether you think it was sent back for revisions, and if there's kind of any issues with it that you would flag up as the approval panel looking at this application. Well, what we've designed are some badges at the moment, so we're really trying to kind of raise awareness of the here because it's a very new thing. Not all students know about it, not all staff know about it, so it's not like you can play a role in promoting it. You don't have to know about every activity, but just letting students know that there is a higher education achievement report, there are activities that can get recognised, and that they should just go and find out more information. So if you've got an activity that is recognised, we urge you to put this badge on your website or on any promotional materials you've got, so students are kind of aware that it exists. We're also setting up a website, which I'm hoping will go live later today, which explains to students what the here is, and there's a list of all the activities on there that they could get recognised. You asked whether students would see the kind of approval document. They won't see it in that format, but what we're trying to do is basically put it on My Careers, which is the Career Development Services kind of database of opportunities for students, so that they can search for extracurricular activities and they can see what they need to do in order to get it here recognised, and then they'll have a link to whether they need to apply for that activity and who the main contact is. So they'll kind of get that information, but just in a kind of nicer format, and they won't need all the verification details on there.
Can I ask you about the universities further ahead?
Yes, yeah. So
I mean, talking about that, maybe getting some student quotes from Stanford University, which they probably have on their website about what it's done for them, and maybe from employers, why it was beneficial. Yeah. That kind of information.
Yeah, that's a good point. I think to some
extent it's just going to have to work. It's going to have to gather momentum.
Yeah.
It's very much work in progress here. We're taking baby steps at the moment to get things sort of in place. Sheffield have got an entire team working on here. They've got quite a lot of funding into it.
I think overall it's something that's going to be valued by students as well as employers.
Exactly.
You have to, where there are examples of where it's worked, and to the advantage, I think you should try and get those people, and even, I don't know, if you could get someone from a company who's benefited from that and talk to the students. And careers in. That kind of thing.
One of the big companies to come in and say, yes, I looked at this when I was looking at
and students who've got
Yeah.
They've got 5 applications and this had here, I immediately selected.
Yeah, something like that, yeah.
Because that will make the kids worth doing.
Yeah.
And it's not
Yeah,
just
yeah.
like that there's another
Because if
thing
you've
to
got
tick
5
off the list.
people, 2-1, and you've got no other information about the language.
I mean, if it's successful, then everyone's going to have the same.
Yeah.
So I have a little question at this point.
Yeah.
Like when I was a student, I did many activities, and at that time we didn't have here, or maybe the activities I did was not here. So is there any possibilities for
Like a retrospective one.
No,
Or
unfortunately not.
yeah.
Matt's looking like he could come up
So
with
because
something.
when I looked at it, I was an
Yeah.
editor of a magazine.
Yeah.
I did 60 hours of volunteering with the environment team. I started the quality sector projects. It looks
They'd
good in my
already
CV.
been, yeah, they
That's
would have
fine.
been here before, definitely. It's one of those things that you put it on your CV, but you could see that's the move though. Students are very much aware that they have to do this additional stuff to make themselves stand out, and we are trying to put that together now and have a stamp to say yes, that you did that, because anybody can write anything on the CV.
Yeah.
Can't they? But you know, it's just giving it that verification. But yeah, unfortunately, you can't do
That's fine.
retrospect. Keep it on the CV though.
That's fine. Yeah. People when we talk about it, they anyway know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess the only thing I wanted to say is once your activity is here approved, we'll send you a communications pack which has kind of more information about how you can tell students about your activity, like slides to put into presentations and things like that, so that we can just really start to raise that awareness about the here amongst students. Okay, hand over to you, Michael.
Yeah, so I guess this ties in quite nicely to a discussion we were just having about sort of how we move from here forward and what sort of things it can do in the future. As you might have got from the things we've talked about already, here isn't currently a place where we want it to be. It's very much something you get at the end of your degree, which is good and does sort of help students out. But actually, we want it to be formative, and what that essentially means is you would have access to it throughout your time at university. So, for instance, you'll first be able to log on sort of Christmas of your first year and look at your here and realise actually your 6.1 is quite empty, and maybe that will give you a bit of an incentive to go out and do some more extracurricular stuff. And as you sort of go through your years at university, you'll see it fill up and you'll see it build up with extracurricular activities, and then it immediately becomes more useful. So I thought it was an opportunity to sort of have a bit of a discussion about how we sort of move that forward and how we make it happen. A lot of it is sort of software and technical operational stuff, and that we can't currently do it with the systems we've got at the moment. But there's also a discussion about how we go about making it happen, not just from a software perspective, but from a sort of operational end. I just thought it's an opportunity to have a bit of a chat about really, and see what people think, see whether it's something which is worthwhile, and if it is, how we go about making it happen. Really.
Is it going to be kind of, like you said, they look at their 6.1 section and it's empty. Are you going to be careful that some students get guidance for this, because they could just fill it up with random stuff that just looks like they don't know what the hell they're doing, they just really have to fill it out.
Just try to do that.
And that wouldn't necessarily be an advantage.
Yeah.
You know, so it might be useful to have some kind of, you know, what is it you're trying to achieve extracurricularly for your degree kind of thing, so that you just do things that are actually relevant, not, oh, there's some volunteering coming up, I'll do that one, and then there's something completely different, I'll do that one, because that one, that could kind of smack a kind of, I'm desperately trying to get stuff in that
that's true.
section.
That's true.
We're trying to do that from a careers perspective with our new student development journeys, so that students kind of know kind of how to move through it and what we should be doing at certain points, so they're not doing that, just kind of doing everything, and then they've got this really long document that they don't really know what to do with it. But I think it really needs to play into kind of the personal tutor system and the conversations they're having with their course tutors, so that they can start to think about their personal development and that side of things as well.
Yeah, because you'll always get the students who want to do everything and know that will look good on my CV and can try and hit everything. And then you'll get the ones that are sort of don't really know what to do, think they should be doing something but not really sure what they should be doing, and are looking for something a bit more targeted and a bit more, like you say, tailored to their degree. So it's sort of being able to point them in the direction, say, try this, or you really seem to get on well with that activity, this one's kind of similar, do you want to give that a go?
Then you'd have to, if you're going to do it to your personal tutor as well,
then
they would
you
have
need
to have
to know,
access to a database with relevant activities that someone in my case, biological sciences could do and benefit from.
Yeah, you almost need a database with this is the activity you might also like ... these ones, so that you could easily click on and say, I've seen that you've done this one. This would be quite good for you as a follow-on activity now.
So would personal tutors have access to their tutees?
Well, that's what we'd like.
Yeah,
That's what we'd like. Because at the moment, it's very much at the end of your degree, you get this thing to say, oh, by the way, this is really good that you've done. And then other people are getting a blank from going, no, well, what could I have done to feel that? Nobody told me about this. And that was a bit disappointing. So what we want to do is try and shift the emphasis to hitting students when they arrive in the first year and saying, you've got 3, 4, 5 years. This is what you should be thinking about as well as your degree, to see if we can get them engaging in it. And maybe after year 2, if nobody's done anything in that 6.1 block, that's when the personal tutors can sort of come in and say.
But year 3 is really busy.
Yeah.
And so it puts even more pressure
on that one. Yeah. But come say you've done, or even at the end of year 1, if they've not done anything,
I think end of year 1 is
can say, have you thought about doing something additional? Maybe through the summer there might be something running that they might want to engage with. So we can have something in that 6.1.
Yeah, I think there's also sort of an element of trial and error as well. That some things they might try some extracurricular activities might not be that relevant. They might not enjoy it, but they might not know that until they've tried it out. So I think there's an element of active if they just try a few different things just to see what they fancy. I don't necessarily think that's such a bad thing, because I think university is quite a good time to try lots of different things and see what you enjoy.
And also you do something that's completely, if you're doing biology, you want to be a science writer, you could do something in a different area, and that would give you a really useful thing to go into that area.
Yeah, and you might discover something which you hadn't planned to do, but you suddenly really enjoy it. Like you might get involved in, say, like the student union TV, and then decide you want to be like a TV editor or something. So it's kind of, I think there's an element of, it's quite good how there's so many opportunities and you can sort of choose random things, but there definitely needs to be some link to a personal tutor system, so there's an element of guidance there as well. Yeah, excellent. Okay, well here are our contact details as well, if you've got any sort of further questions or anything.
Do we get these slides sent to us?
Yeah, we can send them over.
We're actually recording this, but also we're going to put all the slides